Dear friends, we are having this Dhamma Desana in memory of Mrs. Kamalini Warusavitarana, who passed away 7 days before, that is on 13th August. Then she was 91 years old. From January onwards, she had been in Navaloka Hospital under the care of medical doctors and nurses and medical staff, while her children are with her, supporting her, giving her mental strength to face the last days of her life. And as Mr. Jainath mentioned, you all want to thank the staff members, doctors and the nurses and the other medical staff. You want to thank them and appreciate their service in this Dhamma Desana. And the children, two daughters, Nilanti and Nirmala, both who are living in Australia, and Mr. Jainath, the son, and 6 grandchildren and 2 great-grandchildren, and all the family members are together in remembering her today. Originally, Mr. Jainath wanted, and the family wanted me to come to Mrs. Kamalini's residence at Havelock Place. However, with the present situation in the country, they decided to have this recorded Dhamma Desana. If we remember her life, Kamalini Warusavitarana ni Amarasuriya was from Gaul, and during her lifetime she was very helpful to monastic community, and together with her husband Jayasumana, who passed away over 1.5 years ago when he was 94 years old, and they both were very helpful to and to support Buddhist institutions, and they were practicing Buddhist. When Mr. Jainath talked about her and her childhood life in Gaul, closer to Rumasala Hill, and then we came to know that I am from Paragoda Rajamahaviharaya, and the tea state nearby, to closer to the Buddhist Vihara, Paragoda Vihara, is Moragala state. And when I was a young monk at Paragoda Vihara, the superintendent of the state was Mr. Dulip Amarasuriya, who was the owner of that estate, and later on when that estate was taken to the government possession, then Mr. Dulip Amarasuriya continued as the superintendent until he retired. And when I mentioned this, Mr. Jainath said, Dulip Amarasuriya is the brother of Kamalini Warusavitarana, and it is something that in a way it shows how small this world is. And I knew Mr. Dulip Amarasuriya and how he worked with the villagers there, and then supported the Buddhist institutions there. So, and not only that, I remember closer to the Paragoda Vihara in the land of the tea state, there was a place where the ashes of the Amarasuriya family were enshrined. There was a monument there. I am sure it is something related to the parents of Dulip Amarasuriya, Mr. Dulip Amarasuriya and Mrs. Kamalini Warusavitarana. So I want to share this I knew from my young age, I haven't met Kamalini Warusavitarana, but her brother. And everyone in this world one day has to go and depart. And today we are remembering Mrs. Kamalini Warusavitarana's 7th day of passing away. Today in this Dhamma discussion, I am going to discuss with you one of the basic concepts in Buddhism and the relevance of that teaching into our day-to-day life, our social life, and to understand the life and the world, and to think of and organize our way of interacting with oneself and with others and the world. That concept is, the terminology we use in Pali is paticca samuppada, and there are two words that coming there, conditional genesis, and that is the term that we use to translate this paticca samuppada. And there are two terms, that is paticca samuppanna, conditioned, and then paticca samuppada, conditioning. These terms, let's explain, let's have a little bit of explanation, and then let's see how it is connected with our life and the world. In this teaching, conditional genesis or paticca samuppada, the Buddha points out that everything in this world, whether it is physical or whether it is mental processes, whatever it is, they are conditioned things. They are not that, nothing is absolute, nothing that is created by someone, and everything is conditioned. I think, I'm sure most of you will agree with me, whatever we take, we can see they are conditioned. Our way of thinking is conditioned. And conditioned by what? Conditioned by many things. As an example, when we were young kids, it is our parents that conditioned us, and our childhood experiences, the family atmosphere, family culture, and those who came to see us when we were very young, and the area we used to live, the village or the city, the neighborhood, all these things conditioned us. The natural atmosphere, trees, plants, fruits, birds, all these things created our world. Hence, all these things conditioned us. And then the kindergarten, the children who were with us in the class, and the kindergarten teacher, the way she dressed, the way she taught us, the sing songs and dance and play, everything conditioned us. And then the school time, the teachers, up till today, all the experiences that we have experienced have conditioned us. The foods that we took and the economic condition of our family and the way teachers treated us and the way we see our classmates. Some are from well-to-do families, they had their shoes and books, bags and everything. Sometimes other children didn't have such things, and then all these things condition the person. I am sure you all will agree with me, and yes, we all are conditioned by many factors. And even today, it is not that conditioning part is has ended. Even today, we are, always conditioned by other factors when we listen to the news, and everything, every moment we are conditioned by other factors. I'm sure this is something that we all can agree with. That is called paticca samuppada, or conditioning. And the paticca samuppanna, that is conditioned. And then the other part is those who have been conditioned to in a particular way are not only receiving end, they are also engaged in conditioning other people, conditioning the situation. And then we all are conditioning each other then. As an example, we can take Mrs. Kamalini Warusavitarana, and the 3 children can say, yes, our parents, they conditioned us. The way our characters are conditioned by our parents. They were always with us, they were instructing us, advising us, telling us what to do and what not to do. So our parents have played a major role conditioning ourselves. But if I say not only that, you 3 people have conditioned your parents, sometimes you will see it is whether it is true. Yes, it is true. Just imagine the day that your mother felt that a baby is conceived, and from that point onwards, that very idea, change her, and she start thinking as a mother or going to be a mother. And then the father, when he hear about this news, and from that point, how the way they work, the way they think, and all these things change. And once you are born, when the baby is brought to the house, from then onwards, that very little baby, young baby, change the whole family and the atmosphere, that connections, relationships and everything. So a baby can change parents, can change conditioned parents, and they do. And everyone in this world, it is not one-way traffic. It is, we all are, everyone is engaging, conditioning each and everyone. So the Buddha teaches us nothing is absolute and nothing is independent. Everything is interconnected and everything is interdependent. Then I'm sure the physical things we can understand, even mental processes, the ideas we have, the concept we hold, ideologies that we uphold, all these are, it is not that when we were babies we knew everything and we held such views or ideologies. It is our education, it is the books that we read, it is the films that we have watched, and so many other factors. And through watching these news, watching these movies, reading those books, having discussions, listening to talks, and that is how such views and concepts, ideologies are created. So the way we each one of us think also is conditioned by other factors. I'm sure this is something that we all can agree with. We all are conditioned by many other factors. And the important point here is, it is not that I am conditioned by others and other factors, you are conditioned by so many other factors. It is not the main point here. I am conditioned by many factors and I engage in conditioning those factors that condition me. And everyone, every person, and all the living beings, and the natural environment, everything, engage in conditioning everyone and each one. So we are very much interconnected and interdependent. We are not absolute, we are not separated from others, and we cannot be separated from others since our very existence depend on this interconnectedness and interdependence. And this is the base or basic way, this is the base of Buddha's teaching, the way we look at the world. And in Buddhism, Buddha talks about the avijja, and the other word is moha, avijja and moha. And here, our inability to see this nature of interconnectedness and interdependence and this very complex situation and the process, and then to understand nothing is unchanging, everything is changing and everything is interconnected, conditioning and conditioned, and then there is nothing that we can find as the ultimate or the ultimate source that created something. How far you go, you will see something conditioned by other factors. Still you go, whatever you find as something, the beginning or first thing, it is also, you will see, conditioned by other factors. Our inability is to see this complex situation and to see things are changing, to see everything is interconnected, interdependent, and nothing is absolute. This is the basic thing that the Buddha points out. And Buddha's teaching, based on this, that the Vimukti Magga, or the path to liberation, that the Buddha explained, very much based on this way, that the way we understand the world and the way of the world, and to see that, and then the teaching of the Buddha, liberation model, that liberation path is very much to to support the healthy coexistence with this interconnected and interdependent world. If you see the Vimukti Magga, or the liberation path, Buddha talks about the ethical conduct, the mental culture, and the wisdom, 3 areas that he points out. The ethical conduct, he talks about the right words, right physical interventions, and right livelihood. And then the mental culture, very much into the practicing mindfulness. And third part is what we so far discussed, that is the wisdom part. There, sammaditya, or right view, is to see the world, the way we see the world and things, and see these interconnectedness and interdependence, and nothing is absolute, and nothing is permanent, nothing is, everything is unceasingly changing, and there is no beginning or something that we can go further and further to find the first, something first. There is nothing first. And what we find something as the first thing, it is condition. So to see this true nature of the world or reality, and then to understand what we grab and what we try to possess greedily is something that is changing. And what is in the world, we can see in the world is the change, the nature of the changing. But what happens, there are things that we like and then we try to possess it and to make it our own, and there are things that we don't like, we hate, and then anger and hatred. But what really in the world, what is there is the nature of unceasingly changing. That unceasingly changing nature, and everything is changing, but certain moments in that changing process is loved by us, and we want that part to be continued, and certain areas that within that changing process we don't like and we start hating. And when we see in this right view section, the nature of the world and nature of everything, and nothing is absolute, everything is interconnected, and everything is unceasingly changing, then we can realize that there is nothing to be greedy of and grab, and that is the illusion. And then to hate, there is nothing to hate, because if what we hate is something that we don't like in that process of changing. What is there is the unceasingly changing, nature of unceasingly changing, but since we do not like in a particular moment of or particular opportunity, a particular place in that changing process, we start hating that. Once we realize, what is there is unceasingly nature of unceasingly changing, then we understand there is nothing for us to grab or hate. Then how we are going to engage with this world? Buddha points out, engage with that world with love and kindness, compassion. Why? Why we have to develop love and compassion? Whatever we do, whatever we think, whatever the word that we speak, why we have to be practice loving kindness and compassion? Because if everything in this world, everyone in this world, one way or the other, engage in conditioning me, then how can I hate those people? I cannot hate those people. They are the people who create me. They are the people who create, who I am is a creation of those people who engage in conditioning me. Then if everyone is interconnected and interdependent, no one can hate this world, no one can agree with this world, no one can do harm to this world, because when we do harm to this world, we are harming ourselves, we are harming our loved ones. Imagine that I as a person love my nephews and I want them to have a very happy life. I spend time to help them to lead a happy life. And I think if I do the best for them and for their education and all the other education and all those things that is helpful for them, they are okay, they will be happy. And I don't mind about other children or my neighbor or other people, because they are nothing to do, they are not my people. My nephews are my relatives, they are mine, but not those others. But imagine, imagine that I get angry with the neighbor and have fight with him, and still I think, okay, I can be angry with him, and because he has nothing to do with me. But imagine he is a school teacher. He is teaching to the children, and after having quarrel with me, with angry mind, he goes to the class, and then his anger, with his anger, he treat the children there. And one day, my nephews have to live with those children as their neighbors, or those who are working with my nephews in their office as other co-workers, and even sharing the road as drivers. The initial level stage, I thought my neighbor, I don't mind getting angry with my neighbor because he is not part of my life. And my nephews are the important for me, and I have done everything for their happiness. But I have forgotten that my neighbor engaged in creating the molding, conditioning the minds of other people, other children, who will be the neighbors of my nephews and co-workers in their offices, and the drivers who share the road, and citizens of the country that my nephews are going to live. Then I cannot be angry with my neighbor, and I cannot think the neighbor has nothing to do with me or my loved ones, because we all are interconnected and interdependent. And why we need to practice right words, because through right words we engage in conditioning the world. If we do it with right words, our intervention become healthy intervention that create this world a better place. Our physical interventions, through our physical intervention, if we do harm to others, if we violate their right of living, if we violate their right of to live free from torture and violence, if we do that, we are harming this world, and we are damaging the very factors that condition the world, including myself. Therefore, our physical intervention has to be free from violence, and that is why we have to be mindful about our physical interventions. And then, right livelihood. If we select a wrong livelihood, that means if what is in the text says if we choose selling harmful weapons and destructive things to the world, that is a wrong livelihood. And if we sell poisonous things to the world, that is wrong livelihood. And if we sell intoxicating things to the world, that is wrong livelihood. Why these things are wrong livelihood, according to the text, is they are harming to the existence of the world, and is the way that through that we condition the world in such a way that is harmful, that is not the healthy, that sometimes it is not healthy intervention. And then these are what is there in the text, but we can see in the modern world what are the wrong livelihood. One can argue that I am a journalist, and in that text it is journalism is something right livelihood. But if we use the media that as a journalist, if I use the media to spread hatred, anger, and to divide people and divide communities on racial line, ethnic line, that journalist is, what he is or she is doing is exactly planting bombs in the world. So not only selling weapons, destructive weapons, he or she is planting bombs that many hundreds of thousands people will die one day. So we have to interpret what is right livelihood in the modern context. And Buddha suggests why we have to select a right livelihood that heal this world, that do not damage this world, do not damage the human life, other living lives of the other living beings, and that does not damage the environment. That intervention never harm to this world, and the conditioning process through that intervention become a healthier one. And why we have to practice mindfulness? If we are not mindful, then if we are not aware of the present moment, there are easily we will forget what is right word, what is right physical intervention, and then we will engage in the world in such a way that harmful to the conditioning process of the world, and so on. And why we have to practice metta, loving kindness, and compassion. Our such interventions are not harmful, and our such interventions become the starting point of a healthier circle and healing process, and that doesn't damage to the world. And if everyone in this world engage with the world, with the fellow citizens, other people, with the other living beings, with the environment, and then that intervention become healthier one to everyone, every living being, and the environment, and then it becomes healing. It becomes the starting point of healing the world. So Buddha's teaching that we explained so far, you will see it is not that believing something that divinely grace that you will get. It is not something you are going to achieve after the death. It is not something that you are going to see the next Buddha one day and listen to his preaching and attaining something. It is something that your own mind and you can understand, you can see that the reality of the world is interconnected and interdependent, that you can understand, and it is a process, and everything is interconnected and interdependent. There is nothing permanent. And then, since we are interconnected and interdependent, our interventions has to be a healthier one, and through the right words, right physical actions, mindfulness, and all what we discuss about ethical conduct, mental culture, and wisdom, all the three parts explained by the Buddha is something we all can practice in this life and apply in our day-to-day life, in our office, wherever. And this is the basic teaching of the Buddha, and this teaching, I'm sure when you listen to this so far, this is not something that a Buddhist only can practice, and someone who doesn't believe in Buddhism, someone who believes in another something, faith, still he or she can follow the ethical conduct and mindfulness only those people cannot follow is the wisdom part, because in that Buddha says there is nothing called starting point or something that created this world. If someone or something is there that one believes as the creator, Buddha says that creator also is conditioned by other factors, because there is nothing free from this conditioning process. And that is the only thing that those who believe in God or creator cannot follow, unless all the other things that we so far explained, everyone in this world can follow, and everyone can say this is healthier and this is not harmful at least. And today, in this Dhammadesana, we are not going to have 1 hour something, and what I want to share with you, those who are living in Australia and other parts of the world, and those who have been born there, and who are living in a different education and having different education and cultural background. And for you to, my main focus is you all, and to introduce Buddhism not as something, most of the time you will see the way the people practice and follow rituals, and that ritual part is what is developed over the time in the history. And in Sri Lanka, in Sri Lankan Buddhism, you will see different kinds of rituals and practices. In Myanmar, those Buddhists practice in a different way, and Thailand people different way, and the Mahayana Buddhists, Taiwan, China, Korea, Japan, all these, Tibetan, you will see different culture. All those are cultural things, but basic Buddhism, you will see this is something that you can see as something, a positive knowledge that can be used to heal this world. And today we had this Dhammadesana in memory of Mrs. Kamalini Warusavitarana ni Amarasuriya. She passed away on 13th August, and this is the 7th day. As we practice 7th day, we have this sermon. Everyone in this culture knows that 7th day we are having this Dhammadesana in memory of the person who departed. Sometimes in the 3rd month also we do that. This is healing process. Those who have lost their loved one, the funeral day is the first occasion that monks engage in healing process, healing those who have lost their loved ones. 7th day is the second step, that to help the people who have lost their loved ones to heal and start the journey. And I am sure Nilanthi and Nirmala, 2 daughters, Jainath, the son, and the in-laws, and the grandchildren and great-grandchildren and other relatives, you all are grateful to Kamalini Warusavitarana, Mrs. Kamalini Warusavitarana, for her contribution and her dedication to make all of you a useful people for this country, for the world, and those who lead a life exemplary to the others, and do maximum to have the right way of living. I know very well Mr. Jainath and his family, and let's come together and think of the way Mrs. Kamalini Warusavitarana engaged in this world during her lifetime, and let's think of all the good qualities of her, and let's together pay our gratitude to her for her great contribution, and we together let's wish that, Mrs. Kamalini Warusavitarana, who passed away 7 days before, may she attain the ultimate peace, liberation, and the bliss of Nibbana. May she attain and may she find the ultimate realization. And again, we will remember Mr. Jayasomana, who passed away about one year before, and those who, your family members who have passed away. Let's be gratitude to them, pay our gratitude, be grateful, and let's say thank you for all your contributions, all the good qualities you try to inculcate in us, and we are doing our best to continue your good messages to the betterment of this world and all the living beings. And as the monk, I like to, as Mr. Jayanatha and Mrs. Jayanatha Varusavitarana requested me, I want to thank the doctors and the staff of Nagai Center at Navaloka Hospital, where Mrs. Kamalini Warusavitarana was from January onwards, and by thanking them, and let's come to the end of this Dhamma discussion, Dhamma talk. As the Buddhist monk here, I wish you, may all the blessings be with all of you to have a happy, healthy, and fruitful, peaceful time in the future. May all be happy and peaceful. Thank you very much.